Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily, the first English news program in Poland. I'm your host, Benjamin Lee. The documentary by Tomasz Sekielski entitled Tylko nie mów nikomu, or Just Don't Tell Anyone, presents the story of Catholic priests sexually abusing children and gathered a lot of attention in Poland, as the film already has over 3 million views on YouTube. The Polish Primate Archbishop Wojtek Polak expressed his sadness regarding the stories told in the film and apologized to all the victims in the name of the church. Even though the church has tried to tackle the problem more efficiently in the recent years, there are still a lot to be done to prevent such horrible acts.
Mówiąc mi coś tam o tej Maryi, zaczął mnie po prostu dotykać.
Tylko nie mów nikomu was released yesterday afternoon on the internet. Today it already has over 3.8 million views.
Masturbował się ksiądz moimi rękami, proszę księdza.
The documentary shows the story of people who had been sexually abused by priests and how the criminals run free.
Za każdym razem, jak oglądam już pierwszy epizod,
Whenever I watch the first chapter of the film, which ends in a very moving scene, I break in tears, and I've watched it like 10 times already.
razy chyba.
Church authorities responded to the production of the Sekielski brothers.
Dziękuję wszystkim,
I want to thank everyone who has the courage to speak up about their suffering. I apologize for every wound inflicted by the people of the church.
ludzi Kościoła.
Z pewnością tak.
This film will surely make the law concerning pedophilia more strict. There can be no place in the Catholic Church for pedophilia.
Może być miejsca w kościele.
In March, the Polish Episcopate published statistics showing that since 1990, around 400 priests could have been sexual offenders.
W różnych regionach świata były różne przyczyny.
In different countries, there were different things that would cause the priests to commit such horrible acts. In Poland, it's very much connected with the demoralization of certain individuals in the Catholic Church during the communist and post-communist eras. Due to that fact, there were little people who would be brave enough to tackle the issue.
W tym brakowało ludzi odważnych.
Cari fratelli e sorelle.
Last week, Pope Francis introduced new regulations concerning fighting pedophilia in the Catholic Church. Sekielski's short film was produced with internet crowdfunding.
During the regional convention of the Law and Justice Party held in Szczecin, the Prime Minister of Poland, Mateusz Morawiecki, said that the government's investments in energy and transport infrastructure reinforce safety and sovereignty of the nation, while the leader of the party, Jarosław Kaczyński, announced stricter punishment for pedophiles.
My nigdy tego rodzaju zjawisk.
We've never tolerated pathology in any way, and we won't tolerate this one. What's more, we started the fight against pedophilia by introducing the Pedophiles Register, who were the ones against it under the guise of freedom, the Civic Platform Party. We prepared changes in the criminal code. These criminal acts will be punished very strictly, much more strictly than it was before. Today we're witnessing only suspended sentences, which is barely a penalty at all. There will be no suspended sentences, there will be strict penalties, even up to 30 years in prison. It doesn't matter who they are, where they come from and what they do for a living. The strictest penalties will be given to those who abuse children. It applies to everyone, priests and famous people alike.
Będą karane bardzo surowo.
Przedstawiliśmy również inne zwrotnice i nad dwoma.
We've also introduced other points. I would like to focus on two of them today. The first one concerns the energy and the other the transport infrastructure. These two things show how much we care about Poland and the West Pomerania province, which was partitioned during the previous government's term of office. Our policy's goal is to take actions in the spirit of the former president of Poland, Lech Kaczyński's testament. The West Pomerania and the city of Szczecin is Poland's national interest.
Kowana Stocznia Szczecińska, rozebrane ciągi technologiczne.
Konfederacja, a new organization in the Polish political arena aiming for seats in the European Parliament, consists of members from the current ultra-right-wing EU Parliament member Janusz Korwin-Mikke, journalist and filmmaker Grzegorz Braun, rapper Leroy, pro-life activist Kaja Godek, and the Nationalist Movement Party. After a long campaign criticizing the current ruling Law and Justice Party, polls show that the Konfederacja might break the 5% threshold of votes nationwide for possible seats in the EU Parliament. This Saturday, Konfederacja and Independence March organizers took to the streets of Warsaw protesting against the recently passed U.S. bill known as Justice for Uncompensated Survivors today.
Bill 447 was adopted by the U.S. Congress about a year ago.
According to Konfederacja, the bill allows U.S. administration to obtain the so-called hairless properties that belong to Holocaust victims and transfer it to Jewish organizations in the USA. However, lawyers point out that this is an American act and has no legal power in another country, that is Poland. Moreover, the bill itself is against the international law, while the controversy surrounding property restitution for U.S. citizens were long resolved since the 1960s. Despite all that, intriguingly, for the first time ever since the fall of communism, anti-American slogans could be heard shouted across the streets of Warsaw.
Yes, by all means, pick up and go home, because we are not going to talk to you anymore. President Trump, please call her off immediately. Persona non grata. So, she has to go home. Foxman, Lapid, Netanyahu, go to hell. God bless America. God bless Poland.
Tomasz Sakiewicz, editor-in-chief of Gazeta Polska, pointed out that anti-American slogans is a new side in Polish politics.
They've revealed their true nature by shouting "Americans go home." Since communist times in Poland, there were no openly pro-Russian political parties, and at the moment we have a party that is openly calling for the alliance with Moscow.
Political observers point out that while hysteria spawned by Konfederacja is improving its chances in the elections, it simultaneously damages the policies of the Polish government that aims to cooperate closely with the United States in security and energy sectors, which might be in the benefit of Russia and Germany.
The Lithuanian presidential candidates cast their votes today in the first round of elections for presidency in a head-to-head competition. The candidates will be competing to replace the outgoing Dalia Grybauskaitė, known for her strong criticism towards Russia. Having served 2 terms and not being eligible to run, the former president still holds high popularity, and the top 3 frontrunners of the election all vowed to hold similar stances when it comes dealing with Russia.
Front-runners of the upcoming Lithuanian presidential election includes the Prime Minister Saulius Skvernelis, polling third with 17% support, while the former Finance Minister Ingrida Šimonytė and the economist Ignatius Nausėda tied with 22% each according to early polling. All 3 candidates vowed to maintain the strong stance taken out by the outgoing president Dalia Grybauskaitė, the Baltic nation's Iron Lady, against Russia, while also advocating for increased state spending on social issues, a sore point for many in the country where about 1/3 of the population risk poverty or social exclusion. The candidates will be competing for the semi-exclusive role with the say in appointment of key officials such as judges, head of the central bank and chief prosecutor. The right to veto laws and in tandem with the government set foreign and security policy. Polls close at 8 p.m. with results expected around midnight. A round of vote will be held on May 26th if no candidate wins a substantial margin.
That's it for today. See you next time on Poland Daily. But stay tuned for the Poland Daily Weather Report, followed by the Poland Daily Business section.